Man was fired from the company he had worked at for over a decade, all because he wrote a single letter of suggestion. Faced with the firm's decisiveness, he hoped to take his most loyal subordinates with him to start a new venture. However, to his surprise, at this critical moment, everyone chose to coldly avoid him. Even his assistant, whom he had always doted on, did not hesitate to refuse his invitation for the opportunity of a promotion and pay raise. To conceal his embarrassment, he could only miserably leave with his goldfish. Just as he was in the depths of despair, a firm and warm voice suddenly rang out, and so, the two of them hastily left amidst the astonished gazes of the crowd. However, what the woman didn't know was that her life would also take a turn on this very day. When Rosie's sister learned of her impulsive decision, she immediately expressed strong opposition. Rosie was a single mother raising her son and needed a stable income. Even so, this did not change Rosie's decision in the slightest. On the other hand, Jack, in order to save his last lifeline, personally went to the hometown of the currently red-hot football star. Fortunately, his efforts were met with unprecedented success. Not only did the other party recognize his abilities, but he also decided to choose him as his agent. Although it was only a verbal agreement and not yet officially signed, it was enough for Jack to see a glimmer of hope. On his way back, his mood was exceptionally relaxed and cheerful. The next moment, the car stereo played a victory song for him. As soon as the plane landed safely, Jack couldn't wait to call Rosie. Then, with unbridled joy, he announced the good news of the signing to Rosie. Gradually, he began to envision the prospects of their entrepreneurial venture. As Rosie's son became more familiar with Jack, he developed a deep bond with him, despite the gossip from those around them. This sincere interaction still brought them closer together. However, the brushstrokes of fate are always full of irony. A sudden phone call came like a bolt from the blue, extinguishing all of Jack's hopes. When he expectantly went to sign the contract with the client, he inadvertently picked up a call from his former boss to the other party. It was at this moment that he realized he might have been played. Even so, he still concealed everything with a happy face. So, with his last glimmer of hope, he proposed signing the contract. Unexpectedly, the other party stammered out the truth about the signing. They had solemnly promised to keep their word, but within just a few days, they succumbed to the temptation of money and extended an olive branch to Jack's competitor. At that moment, all his beautiful fantasies turned to dust. Anger and disappointment intertwined in his heart. What was even more difficult for him to accept was that all of this was actually orchestrated by his girlfriend. As expected, when he confronted his girlfriend, he was met with her ruthless abandonment. At this moment, he felt as if he had fallen into the lowest point of his life. All the beauty and hope instantly vanished. But just as he was in despair, Rod did not abandon him because of his despondency. Instead, he gave him the greatest encouragement when he was at his lowest. And so, Rod and the agent, a community of common interests, slowly became each other's best friends. Despite this, the once prominent Jack, who had been surrounded by crowds, now seemed like a fallen star, losing his former brilliance. Even the once incessant phone calls were now replaced by icy silence. He mustered up the courage to dial Rosie's number. When Rosie learned of his plight, she unexpectedly invited him over to her house. Disregarding her sister's objections, the moment Jack took off his sunglasses, the shocking wound at the corner of his eye instantly touched Rosie's heartstrings. She could hardly imagine what hardships Jack had gone through. Her eyes were filled with an indescribable ache and tenderness for him. When he found out that all of this was actually done by Jack's ex-girlfriend, he was even more stunned, frozen in place. His heart was filled with sympathy for Jack's ordeal. So, he hurriedly had Jack sit down to rest while he quietly went to get anti-inflammatory medication. But when he pushed open the bedroom door, he unexpectedly discovered his sister hiding behind the door, eavesdropping.